The huge metal doors of the Galactic Council chamber opened with a loud sound. Ambassador Lee Daeon walked into the biggest room he had ever seen. The ceiling was so high that clouds could form up there. Thousands of alien beings sat in rows that went up and up like a mountain made of seats. Daeon's boots made small clicking sounds on the smooth floor. Each step echoed in the giant space. Behind him, his assistant Park Nari followed quietly. She carried a small bag with Earth's important papers inside. The aliens stared at them. Some had big eyes like dinner plates. Others had tentacles that moved like angry snakes. A few glowed with bright colors that hurt to look at. Many made strange sounds, clicking, buzzing, and humming noises that filled the air. "Look at the little humans," one alien whispered. Its voice sounded like breaking glass. "So small and weak," said another that looked like a walking tree. Daeon kept his face calm. He had trained for this moment for 3 years. Every day he practiced walking into rooms full of people who did not like him. But nothing had prepared him for this. The chamber was built to make visitors feel tiny and scared. It worked. Even Daeon, who had been a soldier before becoming a diplomat, felt his heart beat faster. The walls curved up and around them like they were inside a giant egg. Lights came from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. In the center of the ceiling, a huge symbol glowed bright blue. It was the mark of the Galactic Council, a circle with many lines coming out of it. Each line represented one of the member species. Earth was not on it yet. Nari moved closer to Daeon. "Sir," she whispered, "there are more aliens here than we expected." Daeon nodded slightly. Their information said maybe 500 species would be here. But he could see thousands. Word had spread fast. Everyone wanted to watch the new species get their tribute demands. A loud sound filled the chamber. It was like a bell, but deeper and more frightening. All the aliens stopped talking. The room became so quiet that Daeon could hear his own breathing. "Species 4127 Gamma," a voice boomed from everywhere. "Step forward." Daeon walked to a circle of light in the center of the floor. Nari stayed close behind him. The light was warm and made their skin tingle. High above them, something began to glow. It started as a small dot, then grew bigger and brighter. Soon it became a shape like a person, but made of pure light. This was High Counselor Zereth, the leader of the Galactic Council. "Welcome, humans," Zereth said. The voice was not friendly. It sounded like a teacher talking to children who had done something wrong. "You stand before the greatest gathering in the galaxy. Representatives from 1,000 worlds are here to witness this historic moment." The light being floated down until it was level with Daeon's eyes. Up close, Daeon could see that Zereth's form kept changing. Sometimes it looked human-like. Other times it became shapes that hurt Daeon's brain to look at. "Your species is new to space travel," Zereth continued. "You have built small ships that move slowly between your nearby planets. This is ... cute. Like watching babies learn to walk." Some aliens laughed. The sound was not nice. It reminded Daeon of hyenas fighting over meat. "But now you must learn the rules of galactic civilization," Zereth said. "For 10,000 years, the Council has maintained peace among the stars. We do this through a simple system. Strong species protect weak species. In return, weak species provide tribute." A giant screen appeared in the air above them. It showed pictures of different worlds. On some, aliens worked in huge mines. On others, they loaded ships with food and materials. All the workers looked tired and sad. "Tribute is not punishment," Zereth explained. "It is the price of protection. Without the Council's guidance, weak species destroy themselves through war and foolishness. We save them from their own nature." Nara's hand moved slightly toward her communication device. Daeon gave her a tiny shake of his head. "Not yet. Your world Terrathreed has been evaluated by our best experts," Zereth said. The screen now showed Earth from space. It looked beautiful and peaceful. "We have determined your tribute obligations." The image changed. Now it showed numbers, huge numbers that made Nari's eyes go wide. "You will provide 80% of your food production," Zereth announced. "This will feed the great warrior species who protect the galaxy from outside threats." More numbers appeared. "You will provide 90% of your rare metals. These are needed for our ships and weapons." Even more numbers. "You will provide 100,000 humans each year for labor service. They will work on important projects throughout the galaxy." The final demand appeared on the screen. "You will surrender all military weapons and vehicles. Weak species do not need such things. The Council will protect you." Daeon felt his hands curl into fists behind his back. These demands would destroy Earth. Most humans would starve. Their civilization would collapse. But he kept his face calm. "These terms are very generous," Zereth said. "Many species receive much harsher tribute demands. We are being kind because humans show some promise." Around the chamber, alien voices rose in agreement. They made sounds like approval, chirping, clicking, and buzzing. "You have 30 standard rotations to prepare your first tribute shipment," Zereth announced. "Your ships will come to collect the materials and workers. Everything must be ready." The High Counselor's light form grew brighter. This was the important moment. "What is your species' response to these most generous terms?" The chamber became completely silent. Every alien eye sensor and consciousness focused on the two humans standing in the circle of light. This moment would decide Earth's future. Thousands of different species waited to hear humanity's answer. Some expected begging. Others thought the humans would cry and ask for mercy. A few believed that the humans would try to bargain for better terms. None of them expected what actually happened. Daon took one step forward. His military training showed in the way he stood straight and tall. He looked directly at High Counselor Zereth's bright form. On behalf of the United Earth Government, Daon said in a clear, strong voice, I have our official response to your tribute demands. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small crystal device. It glowed softly blue, the same color as Earth's oceans. The entire chamber leaned forward. Aliens who had been bored now paid attention. This was the moment they had all come to see. Daon held the crystal high so everyone could see it. Then he spoke humanity's answer in a voice that carried to every corner of the vast chamber. The word that came next would change the galaxy forever. The crystal in Daon's hand caught the light from High Counselor Zereth's glowing form. Every alien in the chamber watched and waited. The silence was so thick it felt like a heavy blanket. Daon looked straight at Zereth. His dark eyes showed no fear. Behind him, Nari stood ready with her communication device. Her finger hovered over the button that would send Earth humanity's final message. High Counselor Zereth, Daon said clearly, on behalf of all humans on Earth and everywhere else, I give you our official answer to your tribute demands. The aliens leaned forward even more. Some made excited clicking sounds, others glowed brighter with anticipation. A few started making what sounded like betting noises, wagering on what the humans would say. The Vorthok representative, a huge creature with thick tentacles, swayed back and forth. Its tentacles twitched with barely hidden laughter. It had seen this moment thousands of times before. New species always begged for mercy. Then they accepted the tribute demands. It never went any other way. Near the top of the chamber, the ethereal crystal beings hummed in harmony. Their song sounded beautiful, but the meaning was cruel. They were already planning how to use Earth's resources. Daon raised the crystal higher. The small device seemed to glow brighter, as if it knew this was an important moment. The entire chamber held its breath. Then Daon spoke humanity's answer. His voice was calm and clear. It carried to every corner of the massive room. No. The single word hit the chamber like a physical blow. The translation machines worked frantically, changing the human word into thousands of alien languages. But the meaning was the same in every tongue. High Counselor Zereth's bright form flickered like a broken light bulb. Please repeat your response, the being said. The translation matrix may have made an error. No error, Daon replied. His voice was still calm. Humanity's answer is no. We refuse your tribute demands. The chamber exploded with noise. Alien voices rose in shock, anger, and disbelief. Some species made sounds like screaming. Others buzzed so loudly it hurt human ears. A few began flashing bright colors that looked like warning signals. Impossible, shouted a reptilian creature from the middle rows. New species always accept tribute demands. They must be confused, clicked another alien that looked like a giant insect. They do not understand the consequences of refusal. But some aliens made different sounds. In the far corners of the chamber, where the smallest and weakest species sat, there were gasps of amazement. A few even made sounds that might have been cheering, though they tried to hide it. Nari stepped forward. Her voice was just as clear and strong as Daon. Furthermore, humanity formally requests that the Galactic Council remove all claims to Earth's territory. We want recognition of our right to rule ourselves. This caused even more chaos. The sound of 1,000 alien species talking at once was deafening. Some laughed so hard they fell out of their seats. Others made sounds of outrage that their translation devices could not handle. High Counselor Zereth's form grew brighter, demanding attention. Slowly, the chamber quieted down. Species 4127 Gamma appears to misunderstand the nature of galactic civilization, Zereth said. The condescending tone was back, but now there was something else underneath it. Maybe confusion, maybe the first hint of concern. Your species is primitive, Zereth continued. You have no defenses against our weapons. Your chemical rockets are toys. Your nuclear weapons are fireworks compared to our power. You cannot refuse tribute demands because you cannot enforce refusal. The giant screen above them changed. Now it showed space near Earth. Hundreds of huge alien warships floated in the darkness. Each ship was bigger than Earth's largest cities. Their weapons could crack planets in half. The Vorthok battle fleet is already in position around your world, Zereth announced. 847 Dreadnought-class vessels. Each one carries enough firepower to sterilize your planet's surface. The Vorthok representative made a sound like satisfied purring. Its tentacles waved in what might have been alien happiness. Compliance is not optional, Zereth said. It is required for your species' survival. Perhaps you need time to reconsider your hasty response. But Daon and Nari did not look scared. Instead, they looked at each other. Something passed between them, not fear, but the look of two people who shared a secret. Respected Counselor, Nari said with formal politeness, we appreciate your concern about our defensive capabilities. However, we believe your information about Earth's defenses may be out of date. She pulled a small device from her diplomatic bag. It looked simple, just a black rectangle with a single button. Captain Kim Juno, she said into the device, you may proceed with the demonstration. The chamber fell silent again. Every alien stared at the small device in Nare's hand. What could such a tiny thing possibly do against a battle fleet? The screen showing Earth's solar system flickered. At first, nothing seemed different. The Warthog warships still floated in space, looking proud and dangerous. Then reality began to change. Space itself started to shimmer and bend around the alien fleet. It looked like heat waves rising from hot pavement, but this was happening in the cold vacuum of space. Suddenly, cracks appeared in nothingness. There were not cracks in the ships or asteroids. There were cracks in space itself. Through these impossible tiers, something began to emerge. The first human ship that came through the crack was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. It was not smooth and curved like most spacecraft. Instead, it was angular and aggressive, like a knife blade made of dark metal. It moved through space in ways that hurt alien brains to watch. More cracks opened. More human ships appeared. Within minutes, dozens of vessels surrounded the Vorthok fleet. The largest human ship was a kilometer long and looked like it was built for war. Earth Defense Command to Galactic Council. A new voice crackled through the chamber speakers. This was Commander Han Miso speaking from the Bridge of Humanities. Flagship, we have been monitoring your conversation. We noted your tribute demands with interest. The Vorthok fleet tried to form battle positions, but something impossible happened. The human ships simply appeared in different places. They did not move through space. They made space move around them. What you are about to witness, Han Miso's voice continued, is a demonstration of why humanity declined your generous offer. What happened next was not a battle. It was a lesson in the difference between advanced technology and superior technology. The human ships did not fire weapons or launch missiles. They simply turned off the alien vessels. Every Vorthok dreadnought went dark at the same moment. Their engines stopped. Their weapons powered down. Their life support systems switched to emergency backup. The crews were safe, but their ships were now floating metal boxes. In 17 minutes, the entire invasion fleet was disabled. Not a single being died, but 847 warships drifted helplessly in space. The chamber was completely silent. Even the translation machines seemed to have stopped working. Every alien stared at the screen in shock. Daeon smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. As you can see, humanity's defensive capabilities may have been underestimated. High Counselor Zereth's bright form dimmed like a dying light bulb. Around the chamber, alien representatives whispered to each other in dozens of different languages. The confidence they had shown before was melting away like ice in the sun. Giant screens still showed the disabled Vorthok fleet floating helplessly in space. Each massive warship that had been built to conquer worlds was now just expensive space junk. The crews inside were safe but powerless. This is not possible, the Vorthok representative said. Its tentacles trembled with shock and fear. Our ships are invincible. Our weapons can destroy stars. How did primitive humans do this? Daeon clasped his hands behind his back. Now that the pretense was over, he looked more relaxed, like a soldier who could finally drop his disguise. The Galactic Council seems surprised by our technology, he said calmly. This suggests your intelligence gathering needs improvement. Nari stepped forward and looked at her datapad. According to our studies of galactic civilization, this area of space has been very peaceful for thousands of years. The tribute system created a stable hierarchy. Advanced species protect primitive ones in exchange for resources. Very organized and predictable. However, Daeon continued, humanity developed under different circumstances. On Earth, peace is not natural. It is something we must work for every single day. We stay peaceful by being too strong for anyone to want to fight us. The screen changed again. Now it showed not just Earth's solar system but dozens of other star systems throughout the galaxy. In each one, small objects became visible that had been hidden before. Monitoring stations, research outposts, defense platforms, signs of human presence everywhere. The aliens in the chamber made sounds of growing alarm. How long had humans been watching them? How much did humans know about their activities? A new hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. This one showed a human woman in military uniform. Her insignia suggested very high rank, higher than most aliens had ever seen. Honored council members, the woman said, I am Fleet Commander Choi Bina of Earth Defense Command. Humanity has been observing galactic civilization for 47 years. 47 years, the number hit the chamber like a bomb. Humans had been in space much longer than anyone realized. They had been watching and learning while everyone thought they were primitive. We studied your tribute system very carefully, Commander Bina continued. We analyzed your enforcement methods and your technology. We also contacted many species that currently provide tribute to council members. She paused, letting the implications sink in. Every alien in the chamber understood what this meant. Humans had been talking to the tribute species behind the council's back. "Would you like to guess how many species volunteered to provide tribute?" Bina asked. The silence was deafening. Everyone knew the answer, but no one wanted to say it out loud. "The answer is 0, Bina said. "Not a single species chose to give tribute willingly. They all did it because they were forced to." Nari looked down at her datapad again. Her voice was calm and professional, like she was reading a weather report. "Our analysis shows that the Galactic Council operates what humans call a protection racket. Advanced species demand tribute from weaker ones. They justify this by claiming to provide protection from threats. But our investigation shows that many of these threats are created by the tribute collectors themselves." The chamber erupted again, but this time the sounds were different. Fear, uncertainty, and from some sections where the tribute species sat, what might have been hope. "Your species makes dangerous accusations," High Counselor Zareth said, but his voice sounded weaker than before. "The Council maintains galactic stability. Without our guidance, primitive species would destroy themselves through war and chaos." "Would they," Daon asked, "or would they develop naturally? Would they solve their own problems? Would they reach their full potential without artificial limits placed by self-appointed rulers?" He took a step forward. His military background showed clearly now. This was not a diplomat speaking anymore. This was a soldier. "Let me tell you what humans discovered during our 47 years of observation," Daon said. "We found over 3,000 species that had been paying tribute for hundreds or thousands of years. Not one of them had been allowed to advance technologically. Not one had been permitted to expand beyond their home system. Not one had been given the chance to become truly independent." The screen showed images of different worlds. On all of them, the same story played out. Alien species working in mines, factories, and farms, always working for others, never working for themselves. "The tribute system does not create stability," Nari added. "It creates stagnation. It keeps species weak and dependent, so they can never threaten their protector's power." Commander Bina's hologram moved closer to High Counselor Zareth. "We found something else interesting in our studies. Every few hundred years, when a tribute species gets close to developing better technology, they suffer mysterious setbacks. Plagues, natural disasters, civil wars, always something that keeps them from advancing." The accusations hung in the air like poison gas. No one wanted to breathe them in, but everyone understood their meaning. "These are serious charges," Zareth said. "Do you have proof of these claims?" Daon smiled grimly. "We have 47 years of detailed observations. We have communications with tribute species throughout the galaxy. We have records of Council intervention in the development of dozens of civilizations. But more importantly," Nari added, "we have the testimony of your victims." The screen changed one more time. Now it showed not human ships or alien fleets, but something much more powerful. It showed alien faces, hundreds of them, all looking directly at the camera, all speaking in their own languages. "We want our freedom," said a reptilian being. "We never chose to pay tribute," said a crystalline creature. "Please help us," said something that looked like a living plant. "We are ready to fight for our independence," said a mechanical entity. Voice after voice, species after species, all saying the same thing. The tribute system had to end. The chamber fell completely silent. For the first time in thousands of years, the voices of the oppressed had been heard in the halls of power. High Counselor Zareth's form flickered rapidly. "Even if your accusations were true, change would bring chaos. The current system maintains order." "Order for whom?" Daon asked. "For the few dozen species that collect tribute, or for the thousands that provide it?" He gestured toward the screen showing all the alien faces. "These beings have chosen they want freedom, even if it means uncertainty. They prefer the risks of independence to the certainty of oppression." "And what does humanity want?" Zareth asked. Daon's answer was simple and direct. "We want the tribute system to end. Completely, permanently. Starting now." The implications of those words spread through the chamber like wildfire. If humanity could disable the Vorthok fleet so easily, what could they do to other Council forces? How many tribute species would rise up if they thought they had protection? "You cannot enforce such demands," Zareth said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Can't we?" Nari asked. She pressed another button on her device. The screen showed space around dozens of different worlds. In each location, human ships appeared out of nowhere, not invasion fleets, but small groups of advanced vessels taking defensive positions around tribute worlds. "Earth Defense Command has placed protective units around 847 tribute worlds," Commander Bina announced. "Any attempt to collect tribute by force will be met with immediate intervention." The message was clear. Humanity was not just refusing to pay tribute. They were ending the tribute system for everyone. "The age of tribute is over," Daon said with finality. "The question now is whether it ends peacefully or violently. That choice belongs to the Council." The great chamber stayed silent for what felt like hours. Every alien representative stared at the 5 humans standing in the center of the room. The choice had been presented clearly: cooperation or force, peace or conflict, a new beginning, or a violent end to the old system. High Counselor Zereth's glowing form pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Around the chamber, whispered conversations began in dozens of languages. The translation systems worked overtime as species discussed what they had heard. From the highest tiers, where the most powerful species sat, the sounds were angry and fearful. They had the most to lose if the tribute system ended. But from the lower levels, where the tribute species were seated, different sounds could be heard: hope, excitement, joy. The council requires time to consider this proposal, Zereth finally said. No, Daon replied immediately. The time for consideration has passed. We have given you all the information you need. The choice is simple. Captain Yunhana stepped forward. Every minute you delay, more tribute is being collected somewhere in the galaxy. More beings are suffering under your system. We will not allow this to continue while you debate. She activated her communication device. All Earth Defense Command units, this is Captain Hannah. Begin Phase 1 operations immediately. The giant screen above them split into dozens of smaller images. Each one showed a different star system where human ships were moving into position around tribute worlds. The ships were small compared to the planets they protected, but their message was clear. Tribute collection would no longer be allowed. You cannot do this, the Vorthok representative protested, its tentacles waving frantically. You are one species against thousands. Even with your advanced technology, you cannot protect every world. Kuan Yuna smiled and opened her data case. She pulled out a device that projected hundreds of small holograms into the air above the humans. Each hologram showed an alien face. Actually, we're not one species against thousands, she said. We're thousands of species against a few dozen. The holograms began to speak, each in their own language but all saying similar things. The Republic declares independence from Council tribute demands. The Zephyrian Collective refuses all future tribute collection. The Melodic Confederacy joins the Human Liberation Movement. The Crystal Gardens Consortium demands immediate freedom. One by one, tribute species throughout the galaxy were declaring their independence. They had been waiting for this moment, and now they were seizing it. This is rebellion, Zereth said, but his voice sounded more tired than angry. This is justice, Nari replied. This is what happens when oppressed people finally see a chance for freedom. The declarations continued. Hundreds of species, then thousands. It was like watching a dam burst as centuries of suppressed desire for freedom came flooding out. Legal specialist SEO Taman stepped forward with official documents. The Earth government has prepared legal papers for the peaceful dissolution of the current Galactic Council and the establishment of the Galactic Cooperation Alliance. He held up a crystal data storage device. This contains the complete charter for the new organization. Equal representation for all species. No tribute systems, no forced labor. No technological suppression. Just voluntary cooperation between free civilizations. We have also prepared individual amnesty agreements, he continued. Council members who cooperate with the transition will not face prosecution for past crimes, but those who resist will be held accountable under galactic law. The threat was clear but not unreasonable. The humans were offering a peaceful way forward for those willing to take it. High Counselor Zereth's form brightened slightly. And what role would Earth play in this new alliance? The same role as everyone else, Daon answered. We would be one voice among thousands. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want it to be free. But surely your advanced technology gives you special status, suggested the ethereal representative. Captain Hannah shook her head. Advanced technology brings responsibility, not privilege. We will share our knowledge freely with any species that wants to learn, but we won't use it to dominate others. That's the difference between us and you, Yuna added. You used your power to exploit weaker species. We use our power to protect them. The chamber was filling with more sounds now, not just whispered conversations, but actual debate. Some aliens were arguing for acceptance of the human proposal. Others demanded resistance, but everyone was talking, and that was something new. For thousands of years, the council meetings had been formal ceremonies, where decisions were announced, not made. Real debate had been forbidden. But now, faced with the collapse of their system, the aliens were finally discussing what to do. We need guarantees, said a mechanical entity from the upper tiers. How do we know this new alliance will not become another form of tyranny? SEO Taman was ready for this question. The charter includes multiple safeguards. No single species can control more than 1% of alliance votes, regardless of their size or technology. All major decisions require approval from at least 60% of member species, and there is a built-in process for peaceful withdrawal if any species becomes dissatisfied. What about defense? Asked a crystalline being. The Council fleets may have been unjust, but they did protect us from external threats. Earth Defense Command will provide security for all Alliance members, Captain Hannah replied. But unlike the Council system, our protection comes with no tribute requirements. Defending freedom is its own reward. More questions came from all parts of the chamber. Economic concerns, technological issues, cultural differences. The humans that had answers for everything. It was clear they had spent decades preparing for this moment. As the debate continued, something remarkable happened. Tribute species began moving from their assigned seats in the lower tiers. They walked down to the chamber floor and stood near the humans, not behind them, but beside them. First came a few brave individuals, then small groups. Finally, entire species delegations were leaving their seats to join the growing crowd on the chamber floor. They were making their choice visible to everyone. "Look around you," Daon said to the remaining council members. "Your system is already broken. The species you claimed to protect are choosing freedom over security. The beings you said needed guidance are deciding to guide themselves." The chamber floor was now packed with hundreds of alien representatives. They came in all shapes and sizes, some no bigger than house cats, others the size of small buildings. But they all stood together, united in their desire for freedom. "The vote has already been taken," Nari observed. "The galaxy has chosen change." High Councillor Zareth looked around the chamber. The upper tiers, where the council species sat, were still mostly full, but the lower levels were nearly empty. The tribute species had made their decision. "Very well," Zareth said finally. "The Galactic Council accepts your proposal for peaceful transition." The sound that erupted from the chamber floor was unlike anything ever heard before. Hundreds of different species cheering simultaneously in their own languages. The translation systems gave up trying to convert it all. It was simply the sound of joy, but not everyone was celebrating. In the upper tiers, several council species were making angry sounds. A few were already leaving, their representatives stomping out of the chamber in protest. "Some council members will not cooperate," Zareth warned. "They will resist the new order." "We expected that," Captain Hannah replied. "Earth's Defense Command is prepared to deal with resistance, but we hope most species will choose cooperation over conflict." Over the following hours, the details were worked out. The Galactic Council would officially dissolve in 30 days. The Galactic Cooperation Alliance would be established immediately after. Former tribute worlds would receive immediate assistance in developing their own governments and economies. As for the council species that refused to cooperate, they would find their military assets disabled and their tribute collection operations shut down. Not through violence, but through the simple of superior technology. "There is one more thing," Daon said as the formal agreements were being signed. "Humanity has a message for the entire galaxy." The great screen activated one final time, but instead of showing military formations or political documents, it showed something much simpler. It showed Earth from space, a small blue orbiting an ordinary yellow star. "This is our home," Daon's voice said over the image. "It's not the biggest planet or the most beautiful. We're not the oldest species or the wisest, but we learned something important during our history." The image changed to show scenes from Earth's past: wars and peace, destruction and rebuilding, hatred and love, the full spectrum of human experience. "We learned that freedom is not something you take," Daon continued. "It's something you give. When you free others, yourself. When you lift others up, you rise as well." The final image showed not Earth, but the galaxy itself. All the stars and worlds spinning together in cosmic harmony. "Today begins a new age," Daon concluded. "An age where no one kneels to anyone else, where strength protects instead of exploits, where the word tribute becomes just a historical curiosity that our children will learn in school." The chamber fell silent one last time. Then, slowly, alien representatives throughout the room began to stand. Not to leave, but to show The big metal doors of the chamber opened again. This time, 3 more humans walked inside. They moved like people who knew they were in control. Every alien I watched them as they crossed the smooth floor. The first human was a woman in a dark blue military uniform. Shiny medals covered her chest. The second was a tall man wearing formal black clothes like a judge. The third was a young woman carrying a large silver case. "I am Captain Yoon Hannah," the military woman said. Her voice was strong and clear. "This is law expert SEO Teeman and freedom worker Kwan Yoon." Now 5 humans stood together in the center of the huge room. They looked tiny compared to the thousands of aliens sitting around them, but somehow, they seemed like the most powerful beings in the galaxy. SEO Teeman opened a small glowing device and began to read from it. "The Earth government has studied your tribute system for many years. We found that you broke basic rights, laws 12,847 times." He looked up and stared at the aliens around him. "You force people to work without pay. You steal their food and metals. You stop them from learning new things. You destroy their cultures. You keep them weak on purpose. Your Earth laws mean nothing here," High Councillor Zareth said, but his bright form looked dimmer than before. "Actually, they do mean something," SEO Teeman said calmly. "We found the old papers that started this council long ago. Those papers say all thinking beings have the right to be free and grow in peace." The big screen above them showed old writing in many alien languages. This was the first agreement that made the Galactic Council thousands of years ago. "Those old papers never talk about tribute," SEO Teeman continued. "They never say strong species can steal from weak ones. Your tribute system breaks the very laws you claim to follow. Worried sounds came from around the chamber. Many old aliens remembered those first papers. They had helped write them long ago, but over many years, they had forgotten what the words really meant. Quan Yuna stepped forward and turned on a huge picture made of light. It showed the whole galaxy with bright lines connecting different worlds. The lines showed how tribute moved, from thousands of planets to just a few controlling species. This shows how your system works now, she said. Food, metals, and people flow from 3,247 worlds to only 43 controlling species. You council members sit in the middle like spiders, taking everything. The picture turned slowly so everyone could see it from all sides. It was beautiful but terrible, like a spiderweb made of light that trapped everything. But look at this, Yuna said. This is how the galaxy could work without tribute. The picture changed completely. Now the lines connected worlds directly to each other. Instead of everything going to the center, things moved freely between all species. Trade, help, and friendship flowed everywhere. This is cooperation, Yuna explained. Species work together as equals. Strong civilizations help weak ones grow naturally. Nobody steals from anybody. The new picture was much more beautiful. It looked alive instead of like a trap. That could never work, said an alien, made of crystal. Without tribute, there would be wars everywhere. Weak species would fight each other. Would they really? Captain Yoon Hannah asked. Or do you just tell yourself that to feel better about stealing? She pointed at the screen. We studied all 3,247 tribute worlds very carefully. Want to know what we learned? The species that fight the most are the ones you have hurt the longest. The peaceful ones are those who still have hope. Fighting comes from having no hope, Daeon added. When people see no way to get better, they do crazy things. But when they have a chance for something good, they work together. High Counselor Zareth's form blinked like a broken light. Even if you are right, things cannot change fast. The tribute system has worked for thousands of years. Quick changes would cause big problems. We agree, Nari said. That is why we made a slow change plan. SEO Taman made another picture appear. This one showed a timeline going across several years. Step 1 starts right now, he said. All tribute collection stops today. Species paying tribute keep everything for themselves. Step 2 starts in 6 months, Yuna continued. We make a new Galactic Cooperation Council. All species get equal votes no matter how advanced they are. Step 3 starts in 1 year, Captain Hannah added. We begin working together on projects. Strong species help weak ones grow through friendship, not by taking tribute. The timeline showed many other steps, each one planned carefully to make change as easy as possible. This is crazy, the Vorthok alien said. Its thick arms moved wildly. Our people need tribute to live. Without it, we cannot keep our ships or technology working. Then maybe you should learn to make things instead of just taking them, said. Try creating something useful instead of stealing from others. What if we say no? Zareth asked. The 5 humans looked at each other. They did not need to speak. They all knew what would happen next. Then we use our backup plan, Captain, Hannah said quietly. The screen changed again. Now it showed human ships positioned around the home worlds of the Council species themselves, not protecting tribute planets this time, but surrounding the Council's own systems. Earth defense has found all your military ships, Hannah said. We can turn them off the same way we stopped the Vorthok fleet. You threaten us with war, Zareth asked. No, Daeon said. We threaten to make you outdated. Your weapons cannot hurt our ships. Your fleets are too slow. Your technology is too old. This is not war. This is us stopping bad behavior. We do not want to rule you, Nari added. We just want you to stop ruling others. Quan Yuna stepped forward with her big silver case. We have already talked to freedom groups on 1,847 tribute worlds. They are ready to declare independence. The only question is whether you help them or fight them. The chamber filled with nervous sounds, clicking, buzzing, and humming as different species talked about this shocking news. Freedom groups, they thought such things were impossible. Show them, Captain Hannah told Yuna. The screen filled with pictures from dozens of different worlds. On each one, groups of aliens held signs and flags. The words were in different languages, but everyone could understand the meaning. Freedom now, end tribute, independence for all. Thank you, Earth. The protests were happening at the same time all across the galaxy. News of humanity's stand had spread faster than light itself. Tribute species have waited for this moment for hundreds of years, Yuna said. They just needed someone to show them it was possible. High Counselor Zareth's form became steady for the first time since the humans arrived. When he spoke, his voice sounded different, maybe respectful. Your species has thought about this for a long time, he said. 47 years of thinking, Daeon confirmed. We did not decide quickly. We studied everything about your civilization. We talked to thousands of species. We planned for every possible result. Our conclusion is simple, Nari added. The tribute system is evil. It must end. It will end, whether you want it to or not. But we would rather do this peacefully, Seotaman said. Legal change is better than forced change. Working together is better than fighting. What exactly do you want us to do? Zareth asked. Captain. Hannah smiled. We want the Galactic Council to end itself voluntarily. Instead, we create the Galactic Cooperation Alliance, a partnership of equals who help each other. And if we agree, Zareth asked, then we help you change to the new system, Una replied. We share our technology. We give you our knowledge. We work together to make a better galaxy for everyone. And if we refuse, Daon's face became very serious. Then we take action. We free the tribute worlds by force. We stop your military ships. We arrest those who committed crimes against thinking beings. You choose, Nari said. But the tribute system ends today, one way or another. The chamber became completely quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. The council was not being asked to make a choice. They were being told what would happen. The only choice was how it would happen. Easy or hard. In the silence, something new began. Small sounds from the lower levels where tribute species sat. Quiet at first, then growing. Louder it was the sound of hope. For the first time in thousands of years, the oppressed believed freedom was possible. High Counselor Zareth looked around the chamber. In the upper levels, council species sat in shocked silence. In the lower levels, tribute species were starting to stand up from their seats. The galaxy was choosing, and it was not choosing the council.